Woohoo! Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, Jude, kick some butt. Yeah, touch each other. What? Oh my. Jude, you're such an idiot! Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today is a very exciting day because I'm going to be giving you my review of The Wicked King by Holly Black. I'm so excited for this book. Oh my gosh, I guess maybe that's kind of like a spoiler. I got this book the day it came out. I had pre-ordered it on Amazon back in October, and I have been waiting so long for this book, a year, because as you know, I've read The Cruel Prince. And so this is going to be my review of The Wicked King. So if you're interested to hear about my thoughts, what I liked, what I didn't like, keep on watching. Alright, so the book starts about a few months after the events of The Cruel Prince. So we're picking up with Jude basically being the hidden ruler of Elfame, however you want to call it, while Cardan is the physical leader, leading and being the High King. So the story really is interesting for me from beginning to end. I really enjoyed how their relationship kind of progressed, if you know what I'm saying. And I liked that they were kind of figuring out their dynamic. Does Cardan really enjoy being the High King? Jude is making all these decisions, but, you know, they're kind of finding out their relationship, not only with each other romantically, but their relationship together as kind of like a pair of rulers, where Jude is the real ruler, but Cardan is kind of like the puppet on strings for the majority of the book. So in the beginning, Nicasia tells Jude that someone has betrayed her, and this is after Jude finds her in one of the rooms in the kingdom, after she shoots at Cardan and some girl in the bed. And from then on, Jude is curious, like, who has betrayed me, who would do such a thing? And she's kind of always wondering who it is around her, because it is somebody close to her. And for me, I knew Ghost was going to be one of those characters, just because Nicasia had a crossbow to fire at the girl in Cardan's bed. And who has used a crossbow before? Ghost has. Ghost used it in The Cruel Prince, so I knew immediately. I was like, it's him. He's such a turd. So anyway, throughout the story, Jude is wondering who it is, and she has to deal with like a lot of crap, basically. They make her the Queen of Mirth for one of their festivities because Locke, that other turd, has made himself Prince of Revels, whatever it is. He wants to be that, you know, entertainment for Cardan. So one of the nights they say that they have like a mortal girl that they want to make the Queen of Mirth, and Jude is like, wait a second, I don't think there's not supposed to be any mortals here, like, who is it? And then Locke is like, oh, it's Jude. So she has to kind of pretend that she's been not put under a spell, but she has to run around in this ugly looking dress and like a crown. But we kind of see hints of the relationship with Cardan, how it's kind of like developed since they kissed in The Cruel Prince. And you see that, you know, things are, you know, slowly but surely progressing, which I enjoy. I love romance. I'm such a romantic enthusiast. But so there's that kind of situation, and then throughout the book and later on, Jude goes to the Tower of Forgetting, where she meets Cardan's mother there, who tells her, oh, I know your mom. So now that's like coming into the picture of kind of like learning more about Jude's parents and their past and how they escaped, or at least I was hoping that was going to be discussed in this book, but none of the real nitty-gritty details were talked about regarding Jude's parents in this book. I'm really looking forward to it being discussed in The Queen of Nothing, which is the third and final book in the trilogy. But I like that it's like the little seed is there, like, I know your mom. And another interesting character that comes into the picture is this guy that forges all these weapons and armor and stuff, and his name is like Grimson. And I like that he comes into the picture because he actually tells Jude eventually that he knew her father, who forged Jude's sword. I thought that was interesting too. So now we have the seed of like, I know your dad. So hopefully in the next book we'll learn more about their backstory. But he is actually a particular character that I'm interested in because he can craft these very interesting and powerful items, and he wants to come back to the land of Elfame. I'm just gonna call it Elfame, because he left with the previous Smith and like his name got dragged through the mud, but now he wants to regain his popularity and make himself worth something to stay in the kingdom. Throughout the book, there's a great focus on Nicasia and her mother, and how her mother wants Nicasia to marry Cardan. And Nicasia and Cardan used to date a while back before Locke kind of like stole her away from Cardan, and that hurt Cardan. You know, he cared about her, but times have changed. He doesn't care about you anymore, girl. So what ends up happening is Nicasia's mother kind of gets an alliance with Belkin, who's in the Tower of Forgetting and who is like trying to meet Cardan. Jude lets them meet, but then sends him back because they're like, you know, you're crazy, go away. Later on in the story, when Jude really discovers who her first betrayer is, which is Ghost, she's down in the Tower of Forgetting trying to see like what's going on because the Queen of the Undersea, Nicasia's mother, has made her first move, and it's at that point where she's captured and taken under the water to be kind of like a prisoner, and the Queen of the Undersea and Belkin think that they can charm her and make Jude do whatever they want, but they don't know that Prince Dane's resistance spell is still on her and working even though he has passed away, but they didn't know she had it on her in the first place. So she goes around pretending like, oh yes, you are my, you know, closest family, you are my family, I love you, I would do anything for you, to both of them. And she actually ends up staying there for a month. So she loses a lot of weight, a lot of muscle. She hasn't been able to keep up her self-poisoning to, you know, build up her resistance. Belkin's really creepy at one point. He's like, kiss me, you know, like, you know, you kiss Cardan or something. And it was just like, ugh. And Cardan actually makes a deal with the Queen of the Undersea to get Jude back. And I was like, yes, Cardan. However, that deal was to let the Queen of the Undersea attack Roybin and like his army like out of nowhere, and Cardan didn't allow them to retaliate. So that's a problem because Roybin has some kind of a deal to call in with Jude at any point in time because Roybin backed Cardan's ascension to the throne. So I was like, oh man, this is not good. Oh my gosh. So after Jude is rescued, she tries to go to the castle. However, she finds out that she is not allowed in, and not because of Cardan, but because of Maddox. Maddox has given his soldiers the order, like, don't let her in, keep her at home. So eventually she finds her way into the castle where she tries to tell Cardan, listen, this is what's going down. And, you know, he believes her, you know, no problem. But then it's like the Roach and the Bomb are there, like, Your Highness, like, watch out, we tracked her, she came from Belkin. Because now Belkin is the representative between, or the ambassador for the Undersea to go to the land. And eventually she proves to them, like, I can't be fooled, this is what's going on. They believe her eventually, and then there's, you know, a nice, you know, moment between Cardan and her. And then there's an incident where Cardan is poisoned, and she figures out that it's Belkin, and Belkin tries to frame Jude, but because Jude isn't under his spell, she's, get away from me, like, I have to take him inside, he's been poisoned or whatever. And so later she figures out that the little vial Belkin had given her before, in order to kill Cardan, is what he wanted to kind of frame her for. And later she goes out to have a duel with Belkin. After she gets the antidote, Bomb brings it to Cardan to save him, but she ends up killing Belkin, and I was like, yeah, you know, in a duel, so it's fair and square. And then she goes back up to the palace to see Cardan, and he's been given the remedy, but he's like, oh, like, you were just here, like, why are you back? And she was like, what are you talking about? And he's, oh yeah, like, you just came in your double, whatever, and you said Maddox needed to be on his own and independent, so I granted it. And it's then that you learn that Taryn didn't use a command spell because she doesn't know about it. Cardan would have known if it was Jude or not, if Taryn had, because if Taryn commands him to do something, he doesn't get that like feeling like, oh, I have to do it, because their bargain isn't between each other. Like, he would know it's not Jude because he wouldn't, get that feeling or whatever it is. But he ends up telling her, I trust you and you didn't need to give me a command. I would have just done it without it, which I think is a great moment for Cardan, because he's kind of letting her know, I care about you genuinely. You don't need to command me anymore. I understand you and I trust you. And that's like the biggest thing I think about this story too, is that they both don't trust each other, number one, and they don't trust anybody else, number two. So that, I think, was, that moment where it's like, oh, this could be great. And then Jude is just like, man, now they got another problem. She doesn't say like, oh, I trust you too, or anything else. It's just like, Cardan is cured. And then they have to deal with like the whole Maddox situation. But then it's not dealt with in this book, so it's going to be dealt with in the next book. It seems like the biggest thing to happen is that Cardan and Jude decide to get married, because this would be the way that Jude would still have the power she wants, and she can make the decisions she wants, because she would also be a part of the crown, and it would release Cardan from her control, and he would feel more like the High King of Elfame. Because I guess their bargain together has kind of been pushing his abilities or keeping his abilities at bay, because he doesn't feel like he totally like be a ruler. He can't give his 100% if a part of him is attached to Jude or like controlled by Jude. So they agree to get married, and they get married like right then and there. It was like, oh my god, this is another wedding. So first it was Taryn and Locke, which I didn't care about, and then it was Cardan and Jude, which wasn't the best wedding ever. It was just the two of them, and then he gives her a ring that he had actually stolen from her earlier, and they like are like, yeah, you are, the crown. And then, oh my god, at the end of the book, the Queen of the Undersea comes and is like, where is my ambassador? Cardan is then able to show like his true power, a little bit of it, because he literally makes an island appear and the ocean starts bubbling from lava, and the Queen of the Undersea, people start running away. But yeah, you can just see all the power coming from him, and he's like, let's let Nicasia be the new ambassador. The Queen of the Undersea still wants there to be punishment, and literally, oh my god. And this is the reason why I had to read the book twice, because I was like, you know what, I wasn't really paying too much attention to the characters' dialogue, which I think is very important with Holly Black's books, because there's a lot of like twists, and there's a lot of hints or things that allude to something, but you might not catch it the first time, or at least I didn't. And he basically says to Jude that she's banished from the land of Elfame until the crown pardons her. And at first when I read it, I was like, no, oh my god. And then when I read it again, I was like, wait a second, she's a part of the crown now, so she can pardon herself. And she doesn't, which makes me go crazy, because it's literally that simple. All he says is like, until the crown pardons you, you can't step one foot in this land, or you have to forfeit your life. So if she literally stood there and was like, I have put in my time for Belkin's murder, I pardon myself, she didn't have to leave. But she's not thinking like that. She's just thinking like, oh my god, he's banishing me, how dare you. And if I'm like, she says she's the queen of Elfame, and then everyone starts laughing, and she's like, then deny me. If it's not true, deny me. And he can't do that because they're married. And he just gives her this look that's like, oh, Jude. This kind of like awkward smile, I think, in the book. And it's just like, I just imagine it being like, Cardan's like, Jude, calm down and think about it. You're smart. Think about it for 1 second. And of course she doesn't. She freaks out and like starts crying, can't believe it. And so she's sent to the friggin' mortal realm, where she starts to live with Vivi and Oak, and Heather has like moved out because that's something else. Read about it in the book. But oh my god, I was like, damn it, man. I totally enjoyed this book. When I read it the first time and I was like totally dismayed, I was like, no, what the heck? But then when I read it again, I was like, okay, I feel much better. I gave The Wicked King a 5 out of 5 stars. Granted, there were some things I was hoping for more of. Like, I wanted to know more about the backstory. I wanted to know more about this, Smith Grimson or whatever. I wanted more moments between Jude and Cardan. Their scene was like very, ooh. It was good. I still love Holly Black's writing style in this novel as well. There were still things where I was like, oh my god. But I'm also curious about, there's a prophecy, I'm looking at my notes again, yay! There was a prophecy that Jude's mom had heard that her child is gonna be a great weapon. And I think at that time, maybe that was a reason why she left Elfame, because she thought it might be Vivi, but it actually turns out, I feel like it's gonna be Jude. Jude is gonna be, you know, that person, because especially if she comes back in the next book, in The Queen of Nothing, if she comes back and Cardan is just like totally in love with her, he would probably end up doing anything for her. And if he's like the strongest in the land, then Jude can be used as like a weapon or something. And the thing, I'm still not sure if Roybin really called in his favor. I don't know if it was Roybin that wanted Belkin killed or Dulcamara, if it was what she wanted or whatever else. So I don't know if he really called in his bargain or not. If he did, please tell me, because I was a little confused about it. I also feel like I still hate Taryn and Locke, but I also feel like Jude doesn't get angry enough at Taryn and Locke. I just don't know, like, the fact that Taryn was another character that betrayed her, and of course Locke too for his other thing, like trying basically to kill Jude in the story. So you got like 3 characters, and then Maddox, who, you know, we all knew he was gonna do something at one point. But it's like she's doing stuff again to, you know, screw everything up. Like, are you serious? Like, why are you still being nice to this girl? And I still haven't read the Lost Sisters book, which kind of gives you, from what I understand, more inside story to Taryn. So I need to do that to kind of figure out, what is she thinking? What's wrong with this girl? I definitely think at the end of both stories, I definitely had a different feeling. At the end of The Cruel Prince, I was so hype. I was like, oh my god, I want to read The Wicked King right now. But at the end of The Wicked King, I can honestly say I was just like, what? I'm still super excited to read The Queen of Nothing, but I definitely had a different feeling at the end of this book. It was very empty in that kind of, like, how could this happen? Why would he do this to her? The first time I read it. And then the second time I read it, I was like so annoyed that she didn't see it for what he was trying to tell her, and he gave her like hints to way before. I'm telling you all these details, and I'm telling you, you know, indirectly these things, and then you don't realize it when the time comes. Like, come on, Jude, why are you being so dumb? So that kind of annoyed me. I enjoyed it. I loved it. Sorry, I know, like, there's a lot of people who kind of feel a certain way about it. But yeah, I am definitely excited for the next and last book in this series. I'm definitely going to have another predictions video for that book as well, because there are a couple of things I'm thinking about. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please let me know, or give me a like, whatever, you know, you want to do, or comment down below if you have this book, if you read this book, what do you think is going to happen? What did you like? What did you not like? I love talking to you guys in the comments. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Have a good day. Bye-bye.